Hey, what's up, guys? Hello, it is me, your game master and host. You are watching the Stream of Blood, and this is tonight's Fireside chat. I'm warmed by the fire behind me. I feel cozy, and you know what? I bet I could feel a little cozier if I wanted to. So, if you have your rye with you, or whatever your drink of choice is. It's a Monday night. You deserve it. You've been working hard all day. Go ahead and pour yourself a nice big glass. There we go. And I just want to toast the viewers and fans of the Stream of Blood for making the pandemic bearable and for going on exciting adventures with us. So thank you to the Stream of Blood fans. If you're here and you don't know quite what this is just sort of the office hours portion of the old Stream of Blood brand, and it is a brand first. This is just the kind of part where we all just get to talk. So feel free to communicate in the chat. Myself and secret game master Clinton Trucks will be interacting with everybody the whole time, taking questions or just having conversations about role-playing games. We just really just want to kind of nerd out about role-playing games with you guys. So that is what we are here to do. But before we get deep into all that, I thought it would be a good time. We haven't had any kind of incident that's making me want to do this, but I thought it would be a really good time to say a couple things about our stream and how we feel about certain issues. I think that it's just good to be on the record about certain things. And I would love your input on how our messaging could be better. But let me start by reading this written statement that myself and all of the producers and partners of the Stream of Blood have signed off on. And I want to say that we here at the Stream of Blood celebrate people of all races, colors, creeds, sexual orientations, and religions. We want to create an inclusive community where everyone is welcome and feels comfortable. That's really important to all of us. We abhor means hate and think is despicable. We abhor racism, sexism, transphobia, intolerance of any type, and real world violence. We hate real violence. Okay. Now, the fictional worlds that we play in may contain violence. They may contain non-player characters with views that are not our own. This is in no way a vindication of violence or of ignorant and regrettable worldviews. We are not in any way trying to give a platform to those kind of views or to violence in any way. We choose to play games with historical settings like the Neptune Society because there is good and evil in our history that we can explore through fiction, we believe. And we choose to play games with adult themes like vampire because complicated moral choices can show us not just the depths that people can fall to, but also the heights that they can aspire to. And again, that's something that you can explore safely through the fiction of a role-playing game. So the games that we choose to present to you guys on the Stream of Blood involve risk, right? We're taking a little bit of a risk. We risk offending some people, and we also risk, frankly, traumatizing some people. And I want you guys to know that Clint and I and everybody who works on the Stream of Blood would hate for that to happen. That is not in any way our intent. And in fact, a lot of work goes into avoiding that and making the show inclusive and welcoming to everybody. But we are going to play games that explore difficult topics and difficult emotions. That's one of our goals with the Stream of Blood after having fun. One of our goals is to explore those kind of topics. And if that makes you uncomfortable, that is completely valid. We completely understand. Feel free to turn off our show and go watch the latest Wizards of the Coast 5e Dungeons and Dragons stream. They're very good, and I guarantee you will not see that type of content in them. So I hope that was clear. Clinton Trucks, I summon thee. Clinton Trucks, did you have anything you wanted to add? Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Well, yeah, actually, pointed out, missing from our list, a omission of an accidental omission, not a intentional one, but gender expression identity are also things for which we are supportive of all variations therein, and want everybody to feel included and a part of the community that we're creating here.
Right. And that goes for casting too.
Absolutely.
And if people know of, talented players, people that know how to play these games, who fall outside of the people you kind of regularly see on your screens, all of your screens, it feels like, let us know, but more importantly, let them know. Let those players and actors and performers know that we're out here, because sometimes it's easier for them to come to us and then we can go, yes, than it is for us to go to them and go, hey, we're some guys. Do you think you'd like to do our thing?
Of course. I enjoy being celebrated for my brownness, but we cannot expect that of anybody else. And I will also say, for the many SOBs here, I do the bulk of the casting for our show, and I admittedly am quite picky about who we play with. My decisions are never made based on any sort of quota or exclusionary criteria. More than anything, we want people who want to play. We want people who are excited about it. We want people who we think play in a style that we play in. That said, we like having, when we look at the promos that go out for our shows, we like to see that there are men and women and people of color and various gender expressions or sexualities, etc. It's not always easy in a small group to have a perfect spread, but we do, over the course of our channel and our many shows, want to make certain that our players represent the world and the communities that we ourselves live in.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, I think that, behind the scenes, we adopt some of the safety rules that many probably of you are familiar with in your home games or your convention games, back when those things existed, conventions. And, maybe we'll bring some of those out onto the camera a little more. Cause I have had people ask me, wait, do you use those safety precautions? And we do. I mean, when someone signs up to play the game, Clint and I both ask them, before they play their first game while we're creating the character, like, what would you never want to see in a game? And I tell them they won't see it in their game if they have stuff like that. So I mean,
it's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard getting a J-Log.
No, it's you. No, baby, it's you.
I was simply going to say, it's really hard to get a group of players together and have the chemistry all work, especially because what we're doing is so specific. We're telling like stories, and we need people who are both engaged and collaborative and commit to sort of the stories we are telling, which means that casting is also sometimes made more difficult by the fact that we have to be incredibly picky about who we bring into a group to play with us. So I am a snob, and I love pulling from our comedy pals. That said, we have been playing with a lot of folks from the various RPG communities online and have had great success with it. So please do keep recommending new players.
Yes, please.
We're widening the window in order to come and join us. We have new people coming to join us very soon, and the people who we haven't played with before, which was not the case for the first 6 months of the stream. No strangers, pretty much only people who we had played with at an untelevised table.
That's right. Yeah. And I'm excited. I'm excited to meet all kinds of people and kind of improvise with them, bounce off of their play style and stuff. Actually, let's go into some news. Clint, what's new with the Stream of Blood? What's happening right now?
Oh, I recently changed my background. There's a curtain covering that closet. I have a little shrine to Prince. Is that the kind of news you're talking about?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was going to tell them some of the shows that are going to be coming in the next
that's
month.
Probably more what they're interested in. I think that's probably fair.
Okay, so let's start by saying you will continue to see Vampires of Pittsburgh lockdown until the players somehow unlock it. Then the name of it will probably slightly change, but Vampires of Pittsburgh will still be coming at you. And we may have to change the time a little bit to accommodate our very talented players when they get these big, powerful acting jobs that make them so good at these games. But the time will move around on a Sunday. We're going to keep it, on the same day as much as we can. And we're going to keep playing with the coterie we have right now.
I don't think it's any secret that Abu will be heading to South Africa for the second season of his show, and that he still is excited to play with us is great, but we don't want it to be 2 a.m. for him when he joins us. So we'll be making some adjustments for that.
I know we've all played role-playing games that we're still going at 2 a.m., but it's probably not ideal, not on a weekly basis.
Right.
So VOP is still coming through. Okay. I kind of said it on the stream yesterday, but big news is Blades in the Dark is going to take the Saturday slot, and you are going to get weekly doses of Blades in the Dark with a number of different crews in a shared Duskfall. We're finally going to fulfill our promise that we kind of kept hinting at and trickling out episodes to you over the last 8 months. You're going to finally get a weekly dose of Blades, and it's going to have at least 3 different crews. There might be 4. We don't know yet. But it's going to happen Saturdays at 6 when the Neptune Society has been happening. And we're going to really, Clint and I mean, we can figure out how to make it really more where they're crossing over with each other, right?
Well, we have thought of one way already, which is because
we have?
Jared, so excited to involve you in this.
Oh, great.
We are going to, because this is a shared and a dynamic world, and because John Harper's game has thought of so much of this for us, there are relationships between the many gangs of Duskfall, both the created ones and the ones who our characters interact with. So we are going to, on weeks between players, we will be doing a faction sessions where we will work with the audience and let you know how the various actions of our players have changed the temperature of the city of Duskfall. So that is a opportunity for us to be on without players, and you'll get to watch us roll dice and make some decisions about how their actions have actually changed the world. And we will.
Yeah, I want the viewers of that to control it some too. Yeah, I want the viewers to control it some, and change Duskfall into a socialist democracy.
I'll go a step ahead. If any viewer can get me a PS5, you can run a gang in the city of Duskfall.
Maternity leave for the Char Hollow factories. Leviathans become a protected species. These are the kind of choices I'm looking for our at-home audience to make.
Sure. The ghosts unionize.
The ghosts unionize, and then once Duskfall is a socialist utopia, we just move to Scoveland or something and do it there. And then once we've turned the entire world that Akaros exists in into a socialist utopia, we move on to another game and do that to the next game.
Is that the Stream of Blood plan that we hadn't discussed with anybody, that we're going to go from game to game?
Did I not tell you about my long game of transforming fictional game worlds into workers' paradises?
No dystopias 2021.
That's right. Look, Thursday likes the idea. That's all I care about. Okay. Well, so that's your Blades in the Dark. Okay. So is Neptune going somewhere? Nope, not at all. Nope, it's not going anywhere. So you'll still get Neptune about as much as you've been getting it. It will be on, I misspoke yesterday. I need to be specific. It will be on Thursdays most of the time. And we will continue moving forward with Neptune Society into the future. We're in 1867 now. The next storyline will be in 1869. I really can't wait till we get to like 1994.
Sure. Just for the fashion.
I just think it would be so. I'm going to feel so amazing if we just keep doing the Neptune Society, and then one day I'm like, Wow. We're playing a game in the same year that I started the Stream of Blood. That would be amazing because we just want to kind of slowly keep jumping forward in years. Eventually, we'll be playing 1920s Cthulhu and then modern Cthulhu. That's
It's
the plan
happening
with that.
faster than you think. Like if we move a few years every session, we'll be catching up before you know it.
We've covered after this storyline, we'll have covered roughly 30 years of history for the Neptune Society. And I like that. I think that's kind of fun.
We've killed a couple people introduced in the first sessions. We'll probably have Walton Wetherell be too old to adventure. We'll have to.
I know. Well, we'll get
soon.
his son, Walton Wetherell Jr. or something like that. But yeah. Oh, and then there's one other thing to talk about with the Neptune Society before I move on to the other things that are coming up, which is that the Neptune Society, you guys have been sending in your HQ ideas, the new headquarters of the Neptune Society, your pitches for it. They're awesome. We're enjoying reading them.
Remarkably well researched. Very impressive.
Well, they must be. I mean, the amount of the Neptune Society demands proper research
and verisimilitude.
Yes, it is a realistic depiction. Don't you think? So we're gonna give you until next Saturday. That next Saturday we'll finish The Earth is a Box of Bees. You guys can continue to submit your HQ ideas. Send it to streamofbloodroleplaying@gmail.com. That's the best place for it to go. And we are gonna give I'm gonna send them to Lady Hypatia next Saturday and let her and Becca, probably whoever Becca is playing by next Saturday.
Sure.
Let them decide.
Well, one of Becca's characters has turned into a villain, so Becca might actually not be the person to choose. She could be hamstringing the society in order to set up her Deep One queen.
Is a Deep One a villain? In a way, they are simply living their own ecosystem, right? They are apathetic toward humanity, except in terms of their mating needs.
You know what, Jared? I am sympathetic to what you're saying, and I don't want to in any way diminish our talk of inclusiveness, but I don't like them fish people. I just don't, and I'm not going to change my mind.
All right, you are canceled. Look, you have to like the Deep Ones. They have a beautiful culture, and they have. I'm bringing you back, buddy. I was just joking. Yeah, the Deep Ones. I think that the Deep Ones. Okay, so I just read this book. I think that you would love it. What did you pop up there?
Clancy going, wow.
Well, no, I just want to say you have to read The Private Lives of Elder Things by Adrian Tchaikovsky and two other writers. It's a short story collection of Cthulhu mythos stories, but they all take a very slanted point of view and show things from the point of view of the creatures of the mythos, and they're awesome. And the one about the Deep Ones starts it off, and after you read that story, you'll be like, they have a point. The Deep Ones have a point.
See, this is why you shouldn't be allowed to vote. You're just the last argument you hear is the one that you agree with.
Yeah, well, I also during the presidential election wrote in a Deep One name. As who I wanted for president.
Among the many things that I celebrate and love is erotic fanfic based around the Neptune Society. And thank you for anyone who's written any. Thursday, I know you've definitely done some. Thank you so much. But I think something Deep One based would be welcome.
Yeah, but it's got to be sexy.
It's got to be sexy. I worked very briefly at a Borders, and erotica was my section. I shelved the erotica section.
What?
And the book it's true. I hand sold more than any other book, a book called Aqua Erotica, which was a book which was meant to be read in the bath. You could get it wet.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I like books that have special you can get it wet, or it's also a frisbee,
sure.
Or hologram.
But yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if you could just get the Grapes of Wrath, but you can get it wet?
You can spill wine on it.
Yeah, you could read about the Jode family, and it doesn't matter if you spill a little bit of your rye on it.
Sure. Dust falls out of it.
Well, yeah. So, as Clint says, keep the Cthulhu Mythos Neptune Society HQ suggestions and the Cthulhu Mythos erotica coming. I didn't mean coming as a pun. All right. Keep it all coming. We love to hear from you guys, and we love the ways that you are creative, and we really appreciate it. Okay, so where was I? Oh, things that are happening. Okay, so I'm gonna announce this one next. We are gonna do a Conan game. This might only be super exciting for me, but I felt I had to do it because I love the Modifius Conan game so much, and I know the universe so well, and I love it so well, and I wanted to find a way to do fantasy that was stream of blood fantasy. So I would love to know if people have opinions on Conan, have read any Conan, are excited for Conan. We are doing it no matter what, but I want to know how you feel about it. I am a enormous, gigantic, sweaty Conan fan. So I'm really excited to do this game. And I don't have dates for you yet. It's going to be something that we just kind of put out there coming up.
We have somebody asking which rule set. The rule set is the Modifius Conan RPG called Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of. My favorite RPG title this year.
Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of. I mean, the reason they say that is because that's in the old Robert E. Howard, like, before Atlantis sank beneath the seas, there was an age undreamed of. But clearly it was dreamed of because Robert E. Howard wrote that. So he had to dream of it. It's a little inaccurate.
Lonely Texan dreamt of it.
A lowly Texan. Well,
not lonely, Jared.
Oh, I thought you were just besmirching the people of Texas.
Oh no, the great state of Texas. I would never.
Conan is going to be it's a great rules set. If you don't know they've created several games based on this rule set Modifius has, and I have since followed all the designers because I'm obsessed with how good they were at making a game. They've made a game that's a bit crunchy, in fact, meaning it has a lot of little fiddly rules, but that is easy to play, and that is very hard to do, I think.
They managed to make combat fast and exciting, which is I always get bogged down in fights. The fights in this are fast, furious, and fun.
Yes, so they feel like fights from the Conan stories.
Very much.
So that's coming up.
Who will be in the cast, Jared? We want to talk about.
I'm happy to say that.
Start with, yeah,
our friend John Roy, who is one of my hardcore, longtime dork friends. And also, like, you should listen to all John Roy's stand-up albums because they're amazing. And John also, he's a game master who writes his own adventures. He just gave me an adventure he wrote, and we've been talking about it for 2 days. So John will be in the cast because John knows Conan a little bit. And then, who could we go to that we would be sure would just bring the entertainment?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you want to just have a rock solid pillar for an uncertain game, there's only one man to call. He's up on the Rushmore of RPG players.
That's right, Ross Bryant.
Mr.
Ross Bryant will be on that game as well. And we're playing a new game, so we need Ross there to make it awesome, no matter how much I get the rules wrong. And then we have a new player joining us, Laura Dromerick. Am I saying that correctly?
You are saying that correctly.
Yes.
Laura, if anybody watches Blumhouse's Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition horror show, Fear Initiative, is one of the cast members on that show, and is an actress in horror movies and and all sorts of things relevant to our interests around here.
Yeah, so
So
she won't blanch
look
when
her
I'm
up.
like,
She's great.
"You decapitate the guard. Gouts of blood spray from his arteries as his head goes rolling down." Why am I talking like this? Rolling down the hallway
Yeah, you're getting more
before
and
his
more macho man the longer this goes on.
before his brain dies. He looks into your eyes and goes, "2 days from retirement." Um, I feel like will just roll with that and be like, "You're a silly man, Jared Logan," but I get what you're throwing at me.
Word.
And so finally, the final announcement we have to make. This is another new show. Um, we've thought about it a long time. You know, when I started this stream, I kind of was like, I made a rule of no Dungeons and Dragons.
And I supported it
Right. And
wholeheartedly.
that's right. And then when I came to you with this idea before I had fully described it, what did you say, Clinton Trucks? You said no.
Yep. You said, I think I wanna, and I said, nope.
I said, I think I want to do a D&D game. And Clint was like, no, no. And then he just hung up on me.
That's right.
And he
I
wouldn't take
trashed
my
this room.
Yeah, you
Crazy.
destroyed that room. And you wouldn't take my calls for 4 days. Do you remember?
Those are a cold 4 days.
And I finally had to go stand outside your house with a boombox over my head. Remember?
Do you remember what song you were playing?
It was actually an actual play by Nerd Poker. But and you were like, well, D&D is fun, I guess. And then I explained that my actual idea is to do a new show on Tuesdays called Thac0 Tuesdays, where we will be playing 1980s rules. We will be doing 1980s Dungeons and Dragons. That's basically a basic expert set. Some people call it BX, the Moldvay cook rules of Dungeons and Dragons.
Anybody who's like, I don't know about this, your dads are gonna love this. Tell them that we're doing this on Tuesdays. This is for them.
Well, I think that actually, well, yes, I know you're just joking, Clint. I don't mean, I have this bad habit where I'm a comedian, but also people make jokes and then I go, actually, that's not true. No, but what I was just going to say is I think that the old rules actually at this point in history kind of seem kind of crazy innovative because they emphasize different things in the game. And I think that can be really fun.
It's funny what they don't emphasize. Like the rules were meant to do one thing, which is delve and fight. So
right.
There's no social skills.
There's no social skills. There's no perception checks. So my friend Gary here is asking rules cyclopedia rules. So Gary, what we're gonna use only because it's extremely easy to read and well laid out and like gets all the concepts across really quickly is old school essentials. Old school essentials, which is what they call it a retro clone. But what we like about it is that it is the exact Moldvay cook rules, but just laid out differently so that we can read the book. Because if you've ever looked at one of those old DM guides, you're kind of like, wow, this is quite a block of text with things in a order I would not have chosen.
So I will make a quick recommendation, only lightly related to what we're talking about. We talk a lot about a Ben Riggs book called Encounter Theory around here.
Yes.
Ben has a terrific podcast called Plot Points, and they've been doing a page 1 read through of the first edition of Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
Where they just, every episode of the podcast, they just read through the book, and it takes them to do about 2 or 3 paragraphs in an hour because it is so weird. There's so much to say about these early rules.
Anytime anybody I know who was also a game master or a dungeon master is like, what do I do this? Or how do you think that this should work? I go, don't listen to me. Just read Ben Riggs's Encounter Theory workbook. And then I just send them that because it just is how adventures should be written. If you are someone who is writing adventures, in my opinion, it is how adventures should be written.
It's hard to, if you have written any other kind of sort of story or fiction, it's gamifying it is not 1-to-1. So this tells you how to run these stories as a game, not how to jam someone into the short story you wrote, because they're not going to do what you told them to.
They never do. Players have this tendency to have their own minds and ideas. And the only thing that is better about role-playing games than, say, a video game is that you can literally do whatever you want. And you have a person there who can react to that. Are you going to run Castle Greyhawk? Great question. Maybe not. I think that we're going to create a setting, but it's going to be a minimal setting. And then we're going to plop down a bunch of cool dungeons into it that I'm going to like kind of look up, and I will give credit to the people that wrote the dungeons, but I'm going to throw them into my own little setting, our own little setting. Right, Clint? I mean, that's how it's going to work basically, right?
Since I've met you, we have come up with several fantasy worlds that have never found their way on here. I'm certain we'll be probably cannibalizing some of those and finding opportunities to take cool things from our past home table games to jam into this. But
right.
I don't particularly. Guys, I apologize. I just don't want to play in the Forgotten Realms. So we're going to go as far from that as we can. All the published D&D stuff is great, but it's probably not what we're going to do here.
Shaka's talking about those 1 HP wizards. I mean, okay, so I got him saying something else. Be killed by goats. No, 1 HP wizards. So there are 1 HP wizards in old school Dungeons and Dragons, and it's kind of funny, guys. I mean, like, this will be a little bit looser than, say, a vampire game, because it'll be kind of just us and our friends kind of playing old school Dungeons and Dragons. And what I would
Beer
like
and pretzels,
to do is,
you described it before.
What's that? Beer and pretzels game.
Right.
Which, what I mean by that is, hopefully we'll be able to interact with the chat more. We'll be able to interact with the chat. We can be open about the fact that we're talking to the chat, because those old school games, they didn't put as much emphasis on, I am Lord Blackthorn of the blind goat isles. And it's like less characterization. It's more like problem solving. Like, we can go to the chat for ideas. That's not going to bother me one whit. I think that'll be fun. And so we can kind of all play together is my idea behind that.
I will be playing as Die Blackthorn, the fantasy sample character in the GURPS book.
Oh my God. I still want to play more GURPS one day.
I don't know if it works on stream, but it's my favorite.
I just think it's a good game. I have complaints about it. I have complaints, but I still like playing GURPS. So that's Thac0 Tuesdays. Stream of Blood. Will we see Jared playing a game with someone else's DM? Well, I can tell you this. You can hear me playing a character on Arnie Niecamp's fantastic fantasy show, Hello from the Magic Tavern. And that episode should be coming out pretty soon. But it's not really a live stream role-playing game. It's more of like a improvised podcast. I mean, should I play more? I suck as a player.
You know what? The stream has the same problem everybody has at their table. There are more players than game masters. Just thus it has always been, right? So if we can find people who want to run a game and commit to, like we put a lot of work into the stream. If anybody wants to put in as much work as we do to run a game on our stream, we'd be open to it. And maybe you'd play, right? I mean, situationally.
Oh, I would love to. I mean, I like playing. I think I do like being a dungeon master or a game master a little more than playing, but I like to play. You've had me as a player. Am I okay as a player?
Disruptive, combative, and
abusive. Some have said.
Absolutely. Never kick in for pizza. But none of these will be problems on the stream. I think
who has had me as a player is 5-Speed Hybrid here, who has just said that I am very disruptive.
Jared Logan, very disruptive.
Very disruptive. That's right, man. I'm just like here to like disrupt the gaming space, like a big tech mogul would. Look, I like to play barbarians. I only play barbarians. And barbarians rush in and hit people in the face.
It is hilarious that you are a thoughtful game master and an unthoughtful player.
I am not a thoughtful player. I am a act. And you know what? As a game master, actually, okay. So this brings me to a new topic, and you and I don't totally. I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure if we 100% agree on this. So I want to just talk about this for a little bit. So I was kind of writing, as I always am, in my diary, things that I like in a game or things that I feel about games. And you kind of brought this up to me one time and made me realize this, which is that for me as a game master, I am all about action. I favor action over planning, right? Like I want the characters to do things because to me, the story is what the characters do. And I've just been saying uh, the game master's job is to provide reasons and opportunities for the players to act, but to be partisan to no reason or action. So I don't have an opinion on what they should do, but I am only constantly forcing them to do something.
Sure.
Thoughts on that, Clinton Trucks?
A number of thoughts, because you and I have played hundreds of hours of game together. And I'm a person who, when confronted with a closed door, will examine the hinges for a good while before I open it, which is a style, but perhaps not the best one for an active story. As a game master, for my players personally, action is great. What I like is for everybody to have a thing they want, and I want each of those things to have several steps to get to it. So I want everybody to have I want to do, Vampire does it really, really well. People have ambitions, right? Or goals, right? And Blades of the Dark also. I like a thing like a progress clock. Everybody is working towards something that is not directly a room away from them. It is several steps away. And I like to have as many of those in play as possible and have them interact as much as possible.
Okay, I hear you. Well, no, I mean, I just want to say very quickly, our friend here said, I would bet large coin on Jared playing bards exclusively. And boy, it hurts, but it's true. I play barbarians.
I've never seen you play a bard. It's always...
Here's what it is. I play barbarians, but I am a bard.
That's exactly right.
And so what I will say is so if you read Robin's Laws of Good Game Mastering, Clinton Trucks, you are, because I read the book while I was playing games with you. You are I think that he calls it the strategist or the tactician, which means that what you like, and feel free to tell me I'm full of shit here. What you like is for your character to get info, act on the info in savvy ways, such that you face you beat the challenge without it even being a challenge. You know what I mean?
I love it when a plan comes together. That is certainly true.
Right. You also want to not get hit.
Well, I cry when I get hit, Jared.
Everybody does. I think that just means you're really playing. I've told the story, maybe even on the last Fireside chat, about the kid who was, a 10-year-old kid who I played Dungeons and Dragons with. I was the dungeon master, and his character took damage. His character took 3 damage. He had 12 hit points, and he cried. And I was like, I get it. That's okay. But a lot of adult players play that way too, and I think that's amazing. But I understand it. I mean, it's these are the avatars for our souls, right? This is, if you're really playing this is you. You've created a little Horcrux for yourself on the character sheet. So I think it's cool to be that invested. But your character, you tend to love, and again, tell me if I'm full of shit. You tend to love powers and abilities on the character sheet that allow you to go, no, you can't do that to me.
I love an interrupt. I love a dispel. I love a
right, of course.
I love anything where I can look at the game master and say, I know you think that's what's about to happen, but it's not.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I mean, so you like to kind of defeat the combat or defeat the encounter by like being so prepared for it that it is not challenging. And what I will say about that is like, it took me a long time because I favor action. So I favor people running in and like figuring it out because that's how but see, here's everybody thinks everyone should do the thing that they do. So what I do as a person and definitely as a writer or a performer or a game master is I run in without thinking before I can get scared, and I improvise till I make it work. And that's not how other people live their lives. That's not how other people play their games. So I've had to learn how to accommodate different play styles, and the strategist play style is awesome. And because I'll tell you why, as a game master, why the strategist play style is awesome. The strategist will tell you the 7 things he did to make sure that the encounter was easy. And then you can go, you know what? Yeah, you walk right by him, dude. You totally negated the entire threat. You get into and that's a lot less work than running a combat. So it's like, and all you're doing is rewarding the player for thinking carefully about the game. So I don't think it's like being lazy. I think it's being a good game master to reward a strategist for strategizing.
I appreciate that. I will also say, and Burn Ya Bad's asking about our long-running 5e game we did with Tommy and
what was he saying? What is he saying? Throw it up there.
Asking if we'll ever talk. There we go.
That
is a game where I played a character who was almost always almost dead because I was a glass cannon, as it were, right? So that character was a man of action. We played that for almost 3 years.
He was a man of action. He also had he was also a rogue with lots of I evade the blow powers.
Tons. But I had no hit points.
I'd be like, and then your character gets hit by 7,000 poisonous thorns that pour on him out of the throat of a gargantuan beast from a primordial dimension. And Clint would be like, actually, I evade that.
Clancy,
and then I counter strike.
My heart. Yes, Clancy, that's correct.
Wait, did Clancy just guess that straight up?
Meg wrote that Clint's character was a suave kitty boy. That is true.
Oh yeah, a suave kitty boy. It's a backseat rogue. So what would you like to know about that campaign? It was the Rod of 7 parts. Played in
the Forgotten Realms. A reason that I don't want to do it now. I feel like
played in the Forgotten Realms.
We got all the meat off that bone for me. I don't really need to do it again.
We visited a lot of it, and we visited a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons planes, the different planes that exist. And what I did is I looked up, so in the monster manual, I think it's under the Arakakra heading. It's like literally the first monster you come to in the monster manual. It talks about the story of how the Rod of Law was split, and the spider god Mishka, the wolf spider, threatened the world, and the Rod of Law stopped Mishka, and then the Rod of Law was split and spread out all over the world. And there is an old, I think it's a 3rd edition version. And of course, I think there was a version before that of a Rod of 7 parts campaign. And I didn't play those, but what I did do is read a synopsis of them and then play my own campaign based on that. And so that was the campaign.
It was an incredibly classic D&D game. You fought every monster you wanted to fight. We were in dungeons. We fought dragons. We fought dragons multiple times. We fought dragons that we had to fight multiple times.
I did not go to we didn't go to the Celestial Plane, did we?
We missed that one. We didn't. We
it was
were
mostly
in the hells.
You were in the hells. You went to the elemental planes: earth, air, water, and fire.
Yep.
So you visited all of those. Wait, according to
we had a Githyanki flying ship.
Late in the campaign, you guys met some Githyanki, and you got their transplanar ship so that you could kind of hop around to the planes a little faster. My little tip of the hat. my little hello, milady, to Final Fantasy.
We sure
Yes.
as hell did 5-speed. Yep.
We met the Windukes. Yes, the Windukes actually got corrupted by the power of my Mind Flayer, Big Bad Slazengwall. Yeah, the Windukes were corrupted by him. And I don't know what else you want to know. What's my favorite thing from that campaign? Definitely the ogre in a pot people.
Oh, that was really great.
So early in the campaign. By the way, early campaign, like low level D&D is my favorite 5e D&D. So I'm gonna love basic expert D&D because people are much lower level for a longer time. But the what was she called? The one that the first one you found?
Steps
was one of them. Pillar.
That's right.
So yeah, they found they were sneaking around in a wizard's tower, and they found in the closet that he had these bottles where whenever he when you pop one open, a butler or a maid comes out of it, and they are like half ogres. And our players kept these bottles around and kept like popping them open.
To carry something heavy.
Right, and be like, hey, you need to carry this, or like, so they had all these like sidekicks that they could kind of break out when they needed to, and those characters became kind of real characters who,
when they died, it was really a bummer.
Yeah, you had feelings about them, and they were, one was named Pillar because nobody ever really named them. They were like these like weird like homunculi, so people were like, oh, your name is Pillar or whatever. So that was that was a fun part of it. Here we go. Will Pottorf says the characters Ross illustrated from that game were wonderful. I love his design choices. I mean, Ross is amazing.
Here we go. For the last game, we had mugs made. That's Slazengwall. Here we go. There's my Suave Kitty boy. These are all of our characters.
Here are my vampire dice that I use every stream. Right here in my mug. There's Clint's character. Tamriel del Urio del Lunes.
The Marquis.
The Marquis. So yeah. Wait, I had a question for Burn You Bad here. How do you deal with mood of characters such that with a game that long, someone might start playing sloppy and get killed because of RL issues, etc.? Interesting. I think this is interesting. So, I believe in character death.
There were a lot of them in that campaign.
Right. So you died once.
Humphrey died twice.
Humphrey might have died 3 times.
Maybe 3 times, yeah.
Thomas's character technically died.
Death.
He became the god of death because he got all the way to like the 3rd from last episode and his character ascended. It's a long story. But
it was earned. I assure you.
It was earned. So yeah. So you're talking about burnout. So I like the web DM guys. I don't know if you guys are aware of them. I think that they do a lot of good for the RP community, and they have a video about burnout that I think is like a really a long discussion answering your question, Burn You Bad. But generally, I just try to play what the game the players are playing instead of trying to force my ideas on them. So if people are getting sloppy, or it feels like that day they're in the mood to be silly, or they want the game to be different today. Like we've been playing it, it's been like this for a while. Today, one of the players is just going like, I want to do this now. I want to. What I've seen on our Discord is people saying like players who suddenly want to learn everything about the backstory of the shopkeeper. That's valid. That's interesting if you make it interesting. If you fight that, it can be bad. It can be not as good. But you do need to, as a player, if you're a polite player, you need to do what the other players kind of want to do because you are a group, right? But if all the players are like, cool, let's find out everything about this shopkeeper as a dungeon master, I am there for you. Kara Clank's here, everybody. You want to come say hi?
Hi, sorry, I just needed to get something.
Kara Clank from Coven?
Kara Clank from Stream of Blood's Coven is here. Yes, I'm really married to her, and yes, we're having another baby.
Don't do that.
We're having a baby.
Okay. Question to stop you from doing that then.
More Inquisition games anytime soon. Yeah, we should, right?
And the players seem to be pushing us towards it, whether we want it or not, right?
Yeah, I think that the Inquisition is still a major part of lockdown until, like I said, the Coterie unlocks Pittsburgh. So we have to get more Inquisition games in there. Yeah.
I have already reached out to Humphrey if we need a Belgian psychopath to step in.
I mean, he's already hot on the case. We should find out what happened to the Inquisition when they went and checked out that sewage treatment plant and the hospital. Yeah, we should find out what happened to them.
Find out what happened is a funny way to put it because for everybody in the chat, we don't know either.
Oh, I know.
Well, we don't know how it's going to go. We don't.
I know generally.
Sure.
Wait, the COVID ray. Yes. Let me hear from people. So I made a very strong choice. We did to set the current vampire storyline kind of right now. And I wonder what people think about that because I knew that it would make it more interesting for me and the players to jump ahead in time a little bit, but I don't know how the viewers feel about it.
We had a YouTube comment.
Oh, great.
A week or two ago, where somebody very politely let us know that the real world is really dark, and then they tune into our show and it is more of the same. And I think that is completely valid. We are certainly playing
me too.
The darkest timeline of a very familiar world. And in replying to them, I said a thing that I recalled from an earlier edition of the World of Darkness books, which is the world of darkness is just like our world, but the shadows are deeper.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly what we're doing in lockdown, and that won't be a play style that everybody enjoys. And that gets back to the discussion at the top of the show. Not all of our stories will be for everybody, and if things get a little too dark, there's always Neptune. There's always not everything gets as heavy as
we should play Tales from Equestria just to lighten things up a little bit.
You keep on pushing for Tales from Equestria, and we're gonna have to do it if you do that one more time.
I'd play it.
All right.
Or what's that game, Nerudama, where you? Oh, I think John Wick talked about it. Oh, by the way, I think I might have mentioned this before on the stream somewhere, but John Wick, the game designer, did this incredible series that Clint showed me on YouTube about him creating 31 characters for 31 different role-playing games in 31 days. He did it all through December, and it's terrific. You should watch it and tell him how good it is.
Games that you are familiar with, he has an interesting take on. Games that you're not familiar with have value. And Jared, you were saying some time ago that no one wants to play the old game, but so many of the old games are great, and there's not time to get to everything.
It is,
they're worth trotting out.
They really are. I mean, for whatever reason, people are like, that game's old, though. Why would I play that? And I'm like, because it's good.
People are really honest to talk about merch.
That's Brian.
Yeah, well, I don't care what Brian wants.
Well, Brian, why don't you talk about merch? Tell us, and we'll pop it up on the screen. Merch is coming.
Indeed.
Finally.
If there are things people want in particular, let us know. We have some ideas, but the best ideas are the ones people actually are inclined to get. So let us know what kind of things you're excited about.
We like ideas where it's like a business from the game, and like on one level you're wearing this shirt that looks like it's just for like a business, and people who see you walking down the street won't know that you're actually going like, Stream of Blood, this is a fictional place. I've pulled it. Oh, there he is.
Here
Brian
he is.
Baldinger, everybody.
Hey guys, people are asking. We should answer them.
Sure, go ahead.
So we're doing merch. I mean, it's pretty simple. We already have an outlet who's working on it, and we're gonna have a bunch of different stuff for various of our shows, and we think you're gonna like it. If there's anything in particular you're looking for, please sound off here or in our Discord or hit us up on Twitter, or we're definitely reachable.
Yeah, I
We're
know
gonna start
what
with
I
some
want.
T-shirts.
Mittens.
We're gonna do some mugs. We're gonna do some stickers.
But do we have
Branded
mittens?
Petri dishes. I like that. Grouper. We're gonna get mittens. You want to do the? We'll
Grouper is a fucking great idea. Just a grouper hoodie.
Pretty good.
It was Meg in the chat who said that, but yeah, totally good idea. Oh
That's
wait,
so
no,
funny.
that was new original. Sorry, Jacob. Oh man, a lot of people are saying it. Okay, we got to find the first person who said it looks like it was Jacob S.
I truly hadn't
Great
thought
idea,
of that.
though.
And it's the best idea. We have to do
Yeah.
a grouper thing. That's
Yeah, a grouper hat or whatever would be so funny.
a call for Neptune pins. I think Neptune pins are a great idea. They will not be the exact pins we gave to our players, just so we can keep those special, but we'll try and do something cool. Or
Yes.
Wait, can I tell them the cool gift you gave our vampire players?
sure, it went up on the socials today. So
Oh,
anybody
okay.
follow-
If people that haven't seen it, Clint got a woodworker to create for Thomas and Ashley and Ross a actual wooden stake with like a little racket goes on that says "Vampires of Pittsburgh." It's
It looks
amazing.
awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really cool.
hang on.
What's up, Gary? Coming in through YouTube with the vampire tanning spray. It's funny. We have something kind of related to that. Not exactly that, but something that I think you're going to like. That was a Ross idea that he had today that I'm really excited about.
Right there, it is.
Oh yeah, there's a steak.
So only 4 of these exist in the world. This is Chronicle 1. We'll come up with something very cool for Chronicle 2. This is it.
Yeah, it'll be some of that mucus that I was describing last session. It's like a big bloody kind of a hunk of mucus. And then Abu will get his in the mail in South Africa and be like, destroyed cars is a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I think I have lost track of how many cars that have been used up or destroyed in Vampires of Pittsburgh.
I put out a call to the fans, like, somebody please count up all the cars, and we've never gotten a count because I think it's not easy.
Yeah. Well, probably because I forget cars and then I add cars. I'm like,
Sure.
you guys are in a late model Hyundai Sonata. And then later you realize that I just made that up.
I will say regarding the T-shirts that, I mean, they're probably not going to be cheap, but they're going to be good. Like I've used the person before, and I'm going to have her use the same material for T-shirts I've had her made before, and it's a totally like really good T-shirt made out of good material, fits good, and it's not like just a cheap piece of crap.
It feels good on your body.
Yeah.
Feels good on my huge body.
Okay.
What's the point of a t-shirt you don't want to wear?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, one problem I have with nerd shirts sometimes is like I'll go to like Comic-Con in San Diego and I'll like be like, "What? A Phantom of the Opera 1929 shirt? I need that." And then I'll buy it and then I'll be like I'll be like riding home and I'll be like, "Wait a second. This material feels like it's made of a dish sponge." Or like
It disintegrates after it gets water.
You
Gets
want
wet.
that soft jersey material for a t-shirt that you can kind of stretch, you don't want that that cheapo material.
Yeah, definitely Thursday. They're gonna be big enough to fit me, and I'm not small.
Yeah,
you're gonna have definitely good sizes.
I'd like to play. Oh, so Benjamin says I'd like to play VOP of my own, sell a book, maybe. I don't know. I don't think we could legally do that. Could
No,
we?
We could not. You know, we're buddies with the guys over there, but they have not asked us for a Pittsburgh setting.
No, and I don't expect them to, but that's no shade in any direction. I would just say that, like,
tweet at them though. Tweet at them and say you want that setting.
you know what? You guys can do it on your own. That's the thing. You guys are smart enough and creative enough. I think the RPG book market, like, you need the core rules. And then in terms of written adventures, it's tricky, right? Like, I think that, like, the adventure that you run that's out of your heart, that you know how it works, is going to be better than anything that I send you, because my style is different from your style. So
And the
that's my
style
thoughts on that.
of Vampires of Pittsburgh is very much determined by the players also, right?
Well, that's
me.
yeah. That's my style, yeah, which is that, I mean, it is now. It took me a long time to get there, but it's like, let's do what the players are doing, instead of being like, that's an interesting idea, but don't you want to come over here and do this thing that I wrote down?
Like, I have this whole binder.
Yeah. I did a lot of work on this, you guys. So would you mind entering these pre-scripted scenarios that I've created?
I say this because I got a box today. My father is slowly excising me from his home and mailing things to California. And
I went through that.
A big old folder of my old superhero setting where I went in and named all the cops you could meet at the
Yes.
a whole binder of a superhero.
Show something closer.
Wait, I want to see more of that,
Clint.
Oh boy.
Come on.
What's
Don't
worth
hold
showing?
out.
Also, can
now.
you change this to a different view? Oh, wait, I think I can. Wait, this is the best we can do. Oh, this is pretty good.
Comet.
Children of the Comet. Oh, that's awesome. So there was a comet that landed and people got powers?
It was based largely around the Tunguska event in Russia, if you're familiar. And at that
point,
it introduced powers into the world, but there had already been an entire sort of generation of pulp style heroes we're all very familiar with it, but I was essentially going to carry the players through the gold and silver, bronze into modern age of sort of comic style superhero gameplay. That said, you create a binder like this and you play 9 times and then never play again. Don't do that, everyone.
Unless you make it into a stream and then you play 40 episodes. Which I highly recommend.
What I remember about the Tunguska event is the trees were knocked flat for like tens of miles, right? Isn't
exactly.
that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tunguska. That's a great origin for superpowers on your planet. I think that's really cool.
Thanks.
Will you run it? Will you run it for me?
I've tried to run thanks, Meg. I wanted to run a superhero game for a long time. We don't have enough players who are excited to play superheroes.
People were just saying. This guy just
a game for Tommy once, and he just made a super powered version of his dog Meatloaf.
SOB superhero game would be sweet. So we should do it.
There's so many systems to run superheroes, and I wouldn't.
Yeah, what superhero system should we use, you guys?
We have to figure out one that has blood in it.
Well, of course, I'm partial to Aberrant.
Oh, is that the White Wolf superhero?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
said Champions. I love Champions. And an hour ago, somebody asked why not GURPS on stream. Same reason I don't think Champions. It's a little fiddly, I think. The fights get slow. Doing things in phases, I think, just isn't in the 2-hour game sessions we do. Probably not the best.
Or in live game sessions, hanging out with your friends, it might be a little bit.
Jared, you know the kind of character I would play. I would go on every phase.
Well, that's I mean, that's just like a cool thing that you can. I mean, the cool thing about Champions is like it's basically like rules for you to make the rules, right? It's like John Wick talked about this when he was talking about Champions. It's like the guys that made Champions were like, okay, now you're the designer, and here's how all the math works, and now just make anything you can think of. but it ends up creating a really complicated game.
You know, Michelle in the chat mentioned masks. We played some masks at Gen Con. I love masks. That's a thing maybe we could do someday if we found somebody who wanted to run it. But I think teen superheroes is a fun way to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The old Marvel superheroes is the so you'll see how I'm biased in suggestions. I'm like, what from 1984? I'll play that.
I remember that. I liked it. Wasn't like the how you could tell how strong it was like whether you were amazing or stupendous or excellent.
Yeah,
or
that's
yeah,
awesome. That's
it was
great.
Cool.
Yeah. Or Cipher System. I've played some Cipher System. Clint, you played it with me. It's pretty good. I like Cipher System.
What's the one that has that's like the most like lethal
superhero game? That's tricky.
Of the superhero.
Maybe Godlike. Do you know Godlike?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Godlike is superheroes set in World War II.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, so your guys are
like
literally, your characters are literally World War II soldiers who suddenly manifest these powers. And, you know, it's not comic booky. It's like realistic. So, yeah, sure, you can read minds, but if someone shoots you with a bullet, you die.
Okay.
People are naming all the old Palladium games. Those are all books I had as a kid and could never get anybody to play them.
Well, I have thought in the past, we've had people that I know who are like really good pals say that they love Rifts.
I was gonna bring up Rifts when he said I had all the books and I could never get anyone to play. I had all these Rifts books. I never played Rifts.
Are there any Rifts actual plays online?
God,
I don't even know how.
If we are the first one, we'll make $1 million. People will be like, what was Rifts again? And then suddenly watch the money roll in.
Rifts was kind of like a Shadowrun origin, right? It was like there was like ley lines and it was a post-apocalypse, right?
Shadowrun in it was like magic and science, and Rifts was
magic
Rifts was
came back in the future.
Is everything.
I'm finding some actual plays of Rifts, if you can believe it. I'm finding several actually. So I mean, yeah, Rifts was like a world where it was like everything, all the dimensions are opening onto Earth, and they have created a post-apocalyptic war. You know what is similar to that is Torg. Do you know Torg, Brian?
Oh, Torg? No.
Torg, Torg. It's the same premise as Rifts. It's like the Earth has been basically invaded by all these other worlds, and their rules are starting to hold sway in different parts of the Earth. So there's like horror Europe and dinosaur North America, and all these different like worlds have taken over the Earth.
Interesting. That sounds cool.
It's pretty cool. I think
all over the place though, right?
What's that?
It's a little all over the place.
Yeah, but
it's a grab bag setting.
That's why you play it, because you are like, I want to be a ninja, but you want to be a cyberpunk, and you want to be an elven princess. And so you can do that.
It's cool.
I want to be all those things.
I want to be a ninja cyborg elven princess. I guess I'm going to play Shadowrun. Alice is missing. Yes. I want to watch a live stream of Alice is Missing. I haven't seen one yet, or I want to watch a VOD stream of it.
Did I make up that maybe Becca has done one? I'm not sure. I have to go look.
You mentioned it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I want to? You've convinced me. I want to play Bluebeard's Bride, Clint.
Yes, I would love to do a Bluebeard's Bride, or at least have it on the channel.
Sorry.
Oh, you were right, Clint.
We talked about paranoia. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
We talked about paranoia, but I think the consensus was that it's like a funny concept, but actually the game itself is a little too crunchy and repetitive. Is that right, Jared?
I don't know that. I don't really know a lot about the rules for the whatever the new edition is. I don't know why we decided not to do it, but that's not to say it never will happen.
Yeah.
But I think Bluebeard. Oh my gosh, you can tell I've had some whiskey.
Yeah, how deep in that
Bluebeard.
rye are you?
I've had one,
gonna
and I
go
can't
with
say
you.
Bluebeard's Bride. Oh, I did it. Yeah, it's incredible. It seems like a really crazy concept to me. Brian, do you know about this game?
No.
Okay, do you know about the story of Bluebeard?
You're gonna have to refresh my memory.
No problem.
Pirate?
It's like an old folk tale. It's an old folk tale. It's the classic story of this new bride. Her new husband is kind of creepy. She's not sure why. He tells her, no matter what, don't go in this one room of my house. What does she do? She looks in it. She finds the corpses of all of his previous brides. So Bluebeard's Bride is you and the other players are aspects of the bride's personality as she explores Bluebeard's house.
It
So
won a
it's like
bunch of
Herman's
awards.
Head?
It's supposed to be amazing. It's supposed to be
It
amazing.
is. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it's not like Herman's Head.
Inside Out is a more
Yes, it's more like that. It's more like
It's more
Inside
like-
Out. Or Soul. Did you see Soul?
Yes.
So yeah, we should try it. We should try Bluebeard's Bride at some point.
Fun.
Jared's backdrop, is that from his failed building sterilization company? Did I have? I'm not sure if I get the. Oh, you mean is it the Second Inquisition burning down buildings and sterilizing things? Yes.
Yeah, the biblical cleanser.
The thing that I haven't told you guys is that everything in my games is real, and there are photos, and I have photos. What do you think, guys? I mean, at some point, I guess we have to stop.
I mean,
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
We have lots of people
anybody has
watching. I'm
anything they
so,
wanna
I'm
hear
so
us
grateful that people would hang out with us. That's really because no one hangs out with me.
yeah,
No
where
one.
are all you guys on a slow Neptune day?
Oh, you know what? We should talk about the yeah, right. We should
Tune into the
idea-
Neptune Society. Sorry, go ahead.
We had one idea that we should tease out. We should see whether the chat likes it. I'm not going to say it because I'm going to let you decide whether you want to reveal it, but it relates to a book. Remember you talked about doing one of those old. Oh, did
One of
Jared
what?
reach?
Oh, yeah. So, do people know about Lone Wolf books? Because what I was thinking is I might hop on here occasionally and play a Lone Wolf book with the help of the chat.
Little
Lone
Fighting
Wolf books.
Fantasy Friday.
What's that?
Little Fighting Fantasy Friday. That's what those books are called.
Yeah. No, Thursday. Lone Wolf and Cub I also love. But actually, I have them right here. One second. One moment.
I think everybody's too
They're
young. for
basically they're like more adult choose your own adventures guys. Basically, it's like a game. It's like a D&D game you can play yourself with these books that they put out in like
I wouldn't
in the
even
80s.
for adult, but definitely crunchier. You have to have a character.
Right.
sheet.
I mean, more adult than choose your own adventures. They're not for 10-year-olds.
I forgot I moved them into my garage because I've been reorganizing a little bit. But basically, Lone Wolf was a type of choose your own adventure book, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with those. But it was more Dungeons and Dragons esque. It had hit points and weaponry and items and powers. You became a Kai master from the Kai monastery who has access to certain techniques that they only teach to Kai masters. So you can do mind over matter, or you can instantly get animals to like you, or you're a weapon master, and you had to choose these things at the top of the book. And then you created a little character sheet that's like in the top of the book. And then you play a choose your own adventure where they go, okay, you get this much gold from this encounter because of the choice that you made, or you take this much damage because of this choice that you made. And sometimes it was so frustrating because like you would do everything right and kill all these bad guys, and then you'd be in a storm at sea and the mast would just kill you by falling on you. So in that way it was like you choose your own adventure. But they're really fun, and I think I'm going to get on here and play some Lone Wolf with you guys. People are like, I don't know what that is, and I don't care. Well, you'll love it when I tell you about it.
They're British, right? I
80 people
remember
not
those
know what
books
it
were
is.
being British.
They are British. Yeah. Joe Deaver and Gary Chalk are the creators of the Lone Wolf series. 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. Oh, shit. Should I just play 1,000-Year-Old Vampire on here? Remember when the very first Choose Your Own Adventures came out? Yep. There's Clint's copy right there. Yeah. And I've got a digital copy somewhere. Shaka wants to see Fiasco. I feel like I played so much Fiasco years ago.
Fiasco.
Oh, Clint's got all the Fiasco books. Fiasco is
And I grabbed a Knights Black Agents book on accident.
it's a no game master game where you sort of play out a sort of Coen Brothers-esque scenario. Right? Like it's about like stolen money
or whatever. Okay.
a heist gone wrong. Yeah.
It can be about anything, but Fiasco is more than anything about. It's about people who are not as good at what they're doing as they think they are. Things go poorly.
Right. And it also counts. That also goes for the players who are suddenly told, now do an improvised acting scene.
Right.
Which I mean, on our stream would be fantastic because Ashley Birch would just nail it. But I have been in games where people.
Krasmalax asks if I will play Catan on Twitch. No, I'm not very good at it, and I don't want you to see.
First game of Settlers of Catan I ever played. That's what we're talking about, right? We're not talking about Chris Catan.
No, we're not talking about
I'll go either way with
Catan.
First
We're
game
all trying to get Chris Catan to settle down.
First game of Settlers of Catan I ever played, I won. Like versus people who had played it a bunch of times before, and then I was like, I'm never playing this again because I don't want to break my streak.
Will Pottorff just said, "A serious man, the game," which is exactly kind of what Fiasco is, and it's why I love it. It's everything I love.
Yeah. Should I just create like an old school D&D setting that's just Coen Brothers movies? Shaka says Settlers is the worst. I disagree. I mean, I was really good at it, apparently.
You know what we've never talked about on the stream? Jared Logan's incredible old podcast, The Secret Masters. Can people still go and download and listen to that, Jared?
You know, they can't.
Oh, well, that's probably why we didn't talk about it. Sorry, everybody.
No, that's okay. I mean, I was really proud of it.
We could put it up.
We did 100 episodes. That a
And
few
you and I did a great
people
one about the
listened
Coen
to.
Brothers.
We did a Coen Brothers episode. Yeah, we
That
did.
was a fun show.
It was just whatever people's nerdy obsessions were, we talked about. Yeah, no, I thought it was a fun show. I really had a good time doing it. But now I have this outlet to talk about those things. Slightly tipsy Jared is awesome, by the way. Am I? I am slightly tipsy. It's true.
5Speed says Secret Masters is still up on the Apple network. Right?
Oh, that's good.
If you get your podcast from Apple, everybody, go check it out.
There you go.
That's good to know.
Thought it was still on.
Well, listen to all the episodes and tell me what you thought. Lots of content out there for you guys to enjoy.
Incredibly controversial episode that I did with you where we did Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Right. Yes, I forgot about that. Well, Star Trek is superior, so.
Clearly. Everybody agrees in the chat, right? Star Wars is for babies?
It is for little kids, and Star Trek is for serious adults.
That's right.
I like both.
I don't know what you mean. You're not allowed to like both.
Well,
You have to choose.
I don't.
This episode of your podcast was where I introduced my theory that Star Wars is about people's cars and Star Trek is about people's boats. Do you remember that?
What? No, I don't remember
I mean,
this. Explain this theory.
I wanna
So
hear
Star
more,
Wars
yeah.
is about people's cars and Star Trek is about people's boats.
Star Trek is about a bunch of boat dads boating around the place, and then Star Wars, everybody gets in their car, and everybody knows the name of everybody's car. Like Slave One, that's Boba Fett's car. The Millennium Falcon, that's Han's car. It's about everybody's cool hot rods. That's my hot take.
Okay.
I mean, like, kind of, yeah. And the Star Trek is like the big ships, like Master and Commander, and like you know, fire off the port. Yeah. Get down to the engine room. I like it.
I mean, criticism of Star Wars, and by the way, I can watch Star Wars and enjoy it. Mandalorian is great, but like, and they don't do what I'm about to say in Mandalorian, but they do it in the prequels, and they do it in the sequels to the original trilogy, which is that they're like, it's a city street in Tatooine. So every alien is there. Every single alien you can think of is walking along. And it would be like if it was just a modern movie and they were panning across the street and it was like a mailman, a firefighter, a librarian, a teacher, a policeman. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. They're like, we have CGI. We can put as much in as we want. And you're like, don't put everything in.
Totally. It was great when he was limited by practical effects. And so he had some limitations put on him. And then as soon as they could do CGI, it was like Lucas just put every little.
Even when limited by practical effects, the reason the cantina looks the way it is Lucas literally said, I want everything in this warehouse. So I have aliens from other shows. I have the devil. I have everybody shows up. He just pulled everything that was available.
Are there any old devil? Here's an actual substantive question other than us just going on about Star Trek and Star Wars. Do you guys audition your actors?
No. Not. It's a booking. It's not casting. So we're basically picking people that we know basically already, or we have picked them for a reason. It's not like a thing where we just have an open call or anything. This is like choosing. We basically go from our friends or friends of friends.
Yeah. In a perfect world, we've gamed with them before, or we know them and their style well enough that we're guessing they'll be a good match. There are plenty of people who we think are smart and hilarious and great to hang out with who wouldn't be great on the stream. Or
don't fit for the particular show we're putting it, because there's a ton of alchemy that we put into this every single time. Because a lot of it is the blend of the different characters and the players and all of that stuff. So yeah, we put a lot of thought into it. We're proud of it too, actually.
Yeah. Yes.
Declan asked a good question.
I would say that if possible, we talk for 15 minutes. We tell people to show up 15 minutes ahead of time. And
probably not enough is the answer.
Yeah. I'll go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll say we warm up in the stream basically. The first 10 minutes or so is really everybody settling in.
I watched some streams today that are not our stream. And I won't name any of them specifically. And I thought that they had great qualities, even these things that I won't name. But one thing that shocked me was that there were streams where the game master just talks for like 25 or 30 minutes up top. He talks for 10 minutes. Then he goes, say who you are. And people are like, hi, I'm playing Gubanor. And he's like, okay. And then he just talks for another 20 minutes. And I was like, you can do that? I think
oh no, Jared!
Let the players play a game. I was surprised.
It gets. I imagine sometimes if we've been playing a game for a while, there's a lot of housekeeping to do, or setting the table for people who perhaps have not been with us for the 30 previous episodes, and it can be hard to not take those few minutes to really catch people up. But that's what the YouTube archive is for. We'll do our best.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like to avoid that a little bit, but I understand we do need to try to like let people jump on wherever they want, But this stream style was like L.A., City of Angels. When you're driving around here, you never know when a double cross might make your head spin. Look at the ocean flowing into the land. It was like this like long monologue, and I was like, I'm writing some of these. This looks fun.
Yeah. Then they just play the Entourage opening credits. And
then maybe they should.
Anyway,
there are different styles. And I have mine. I mean, I think sometimes our streams are a little chaotic because we go where the players tell us to go, but that's the way I'm going to always play it. I think that's just like my style. That makes me want to watch The Crow again. Not The Crow, City of Angels, I hope.
The Imperial
Everybody
Crow.
knows original The Crow is the only good one. Wow, I'm happy that people know about the Crow.
If
Can't
we
wait all
come
the
back
time.
and do another fireside chat, if people really want it, I have an incredible story about Bai Ling from The Crow. She was on one of my very early jobs in LA. And
Clint, what are we even doing?
nuts.
Clint, why are we even here? You have
Yeah,
to tell it now.
Go. We're not setting it up in another episode.
Oh,
We're here.
Yeah.
It's happening.
strap in.
I don't know this story.
One of my very early jobs in Los Angeles was on a absolutely forgotten VH1 singing competition show called But Can They Sing? Hosted by Amit Zappa, with a number of interesting celebrities like Joey Pants, Bai Ling, a Gotti child.
Joey Pants.
But Bai Ling was on the show, and was a very interesting character. But she doesn't speak English, is not her first language, and she did not grow up in the West. So many of the American or Western pop songs she was asked to sing were songs she was not familiar with, and she had to learn to sing them phonetically. So
wow,
she would, yes, she had a lot.
Yeah, that sucks.
Exactly right. So she needed more time on the stage than anybody else, and we just didn't have the ability to give her all the rehearsal she wanted. And because I was not the most senior person on the job, I would sometimes have to be alone in a soundstage with Bai Ling wearing headphones, singing "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" at me, where I can't hear the music. and the things like this. But Bai Ling was
singing it phonetically.
Singing it phonetically. And like she's an incredibly intense figure. Like she like wears very
like the
intense
pretty
makeup.
eyes.
She is that character from The Crow very, very much. So she decided that she really wanted to win this show, and she was going to have a shtick where each week she would disrobe to some degree on stage and reveal a big fake tattoo. And one week it was meant to be a giant tiger tattoo, which was a fake tattoo she had worn in her appearance in Playboy magazine. She wanted that exact same tiger tattoo. We didn't know how to get that exact same tiger tattoo. So I had to go down to the Los Angeles Central Library and pull an old issue of Playboy, find out who had made this fake tattoo in the credits, which was a place in Venice, get them to make a custom giant fake tiger tattoo. It gets back on the day of the live performance, maybe an hour before the show is starting, and we don't have enough makeup artists for everybody, and I have to go in and apply this fake tiger tattoo to Bai Ling, because I'm the only person she really knows, because she has been singing at me for weeks at a time.
Wow.
This is a good story.
And now this show is so far gone. I will tell the greatest story from this. During a big meeting, the actress Morgan Fairchild was on the show, and Morgan was wearing a fringe dress, and Bai Ling, I will not guess why, but she was a chain smoker, took her lighter and began to burn the fringe of Morgan's dress. And Morgan wanted to call the police. She said Bai Ling tried to kill her. It was a really, really intense day at work. And I said to myself, I'm going to live in LA forever. It's the best.
I mean, when Bai Ling tries to burn Morgan Fairchild's fringe, how could you ever want to leave? Yeah, LA is the best city in the world, and
every couple of weeks before I was locked in my house, something like that would happen.
Morgan Fairchild lives here, if she's still alive.
Right.
If she's still alive. Wow. So did you feel like you got the tattoo applied correctly? It was sort of.
That was the last time anyone had to do that, because Bai Ling did not survive on the show. not the strongest singer.
She got eliminated that night, and the tattoo was never revealed.
Either that night or the next week, very quickly.
Well, but on the bright side, But Can They Sing is considered a classic of Western television history.
We all remember it. It's really great to be on a television show that's on the air and have no one you've ever met have heard of it.
Yeah.
I think I just found a reference to that story on a Gawker article.
What? Lighting Biling on fire? Or Biling
It's called
Morgan Fairchild on fire?
Biling Sets Morgan Fairchild's Hair on Fire Just to See It Burn. Is the title of the article. I haven't read it yet, but I'll post it.
In my memory, it was the fringe on her dress, not her hair. So
welcome
Gawker,
to our celebrity
down.
gossip show, Stream of Tea, where we spill the tea so much there's a stream of it.
I'm going to link the article. I'm not making any claims about this article, just that I found it on the internet.
All right.
Guys, I think when you've told a Morgan Fairchild Biling story, it's time to go.
That's a big closer.
Yeah. I've enjoyed talking to everybody tonight. We're going to do these more often, at least once a month, I think, but maybe more often. Thanks for being here, and thanks for patronizing. That's not what I meant. Being patrons of the channel.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye forever.
Until next time, #get pink. Ya Shub Nugurath Cthulhu Fatagan and Blades in the Dark. I need a